In this new section, we'll look at further video effect enhancements we can make to help improve or possibly even resolve less than perfect footage. We'll start by manually assessing this video clip. It's the one we worked on in terms of color correction previously. Well, even a cursory glance visually informs us we can improve it in terms of contrast, lightness and darkness. As you can see, it looks a little washed out right across its range. So let's see what Premiere Pro can offer us in terms of effects to rectify this. So I'll start off first of all by coming down to the timeline and selecting the clip. As we know by now, this is for one of two reasons. The first, to allow us to double-click any effect to apply it, and the second, to have the effect open up in the Effect Controls panel and immediately become available with its adjustment parameters. So with it selected, I'll open up the Video Effects folder and move down to this subfolder, Adjust. As you can see inside here, there are a couple of filters that we can immediately use to correct or improve our clip. We could use Auto Color, but I'll leave that, preferring instead to use either Auto Contrast or Auto Levels. I'll start with Auto Contrast, so I'll select it and drag and drop down on top of my clip. Or as I said a few moments ago, because the clip is selected, I could have just simply double-clicked and that would have applied that effect. Anyway, whichever method that you do choose, we immediately see an improvement in our project panel. You might also notice that the red render lines there indicate it will need rendering for smooth playback. This isn't an effect that can take advantage of a Mercury playback engine, if that's the particular type of video card that you have. Anyway, as we can see, our clip now takes on a much more focused or defined contrast and creates a more dramatic and realistic mood. Having filmed this originally, I can pretty much say that this is reflective of what it was really like. Now, even though there's quite a dramatic improvement, I'm sure you'll be surprised at how little autocorrection has actually taken place. If I open up the Effect Controls panel and look at the available auto contrast parameters, here you'll see the numerical adjustments are quite modest. Both the white and black clip parameters have only been automatically adjusted up by 0.1%. Clearly it's enough, and all that's required. That said, if you want to pump this up and make it even more dramatic, open up the drag slider for the black, and drag to the right to increase the black levels in the clip. As you can see, taking it about 75% across makes the clip take on the appearance of a severe storm. Now it was quite windy out there, but not quite that rough. So I'll reduce it back to 0. In fact, to reset to the auto setting that we originally had, click this reset button to return to 0.1%. Now I'll just close up the parameter slider from view. Okay, now that's the auto contrast effect. Let's remove it. I'll right click on it up here to clear it, running down there to clear. Okay, let's try auto levels now, the third effect down. So I'll drag and drop this on top of my clip, and now we get a very similar look to auto contrast. Now I personally can't tell the difference visually, but I'm sure if we opened up any of the scopes we saw previously, we'd be informed of the differences between the two clips. Anyway, for now I'll remove it, so this time I'll go up to Edit and down to Undo to remove it. Next, we'll try another type of effect that will produce a similar result. I'll open up the Color Correction folder, after closing the Adjust folder of course, although closing the Adjust folder isn't necessary. Anyway, inside here, you'll see this filter with the name that makes it very obvious what it will do, brightness and contrast. I'll apply it, I'll drag and drop it down onto my clip, and once again, we get a dramatic rectification of the clip's tonal range. Admittedly, we once more get a similar corrected strong view. However, if we open up the relevant effect up here, we can see we get two simple drag slider adjustment parameters. The top one is for brightness. I can adjust this to the right to increase the brightness. Now that's quite washed out. So if we go the other way, to the left, we can darken it. Well, yes, it's darker, but the contrast is still washed out. So I would need to open up the contrast slider as well. And of course, moving this to the right increases our contrast. And the result is we now get more of a distinction between the light and dark areas. I'll take it to about here. This looks good. Okay, so I'm going to finish up now that we've seen a couple of effects and how we can adjust them when we want to adjust the brightness and the contrast in any video clip that might not be perfectly filmed.